Hi there, welcome back to Rusty Lilac Farm. I'm Kathy and my husband and I are trying to homestead a little piece of land out here on the eastern plains of Colorado. Wanted to give you a little bit of an update on our garden. It is the end of August. We have had a challenging summer. Even though the nights are coming to us a lot quicker and a little cooler, the days have been record-setting heat, dry, winds. We've got a lot of wildfires going on here in the western states. We get a lot of smoke haze. Makes it difficult to be outside in the garden. So today I'm going to start off with showing you some of our wins and some of our not winners that have happened here in the garden. So follow along. So first I'm going to start off with a win that we've got here in the garden. So you can see the spaghetti squash are going gangbusters. I've actually already harvested 4 of the spaghetti squash and we've eaten them. Very tasty, nice and fresh from the garden. I've tried counting how many we have going right now, but I tend to lose count. I could not be happier. It's just been a huge win for us. And they're pretty good size, as you can see there. This one here, this one here. The nice thing is too, is that they're coming along at different stages so that we can harvest a few and then a few are still growing. Just waiting for them to turn a little bit more yellow on some of them, then I'll cut them off. And over here, I don't know if I would actually call it a loss. Things are starting to come around. I fought blossom end rot on the zucchinis. As you can see here, I'm still kind of battling it right here. I've tried calcium. Had a huge problem with that. And then also with pollination. Got a lot of male flowers and not a lot of female. But we are seeing some produce come along. 1 or 2. I'm not going to be the person that's handing out zucchini to everyone. I'll be lucky if I just get a few, to be honest. Which I'll be happy with that. Lesson learned for next year. Make sure that we really feed the bed some calcium. But there are a few. I might get 5 or 6 out of here. A loss, but might turn out into a win. I did have to take out the cauliflower. If you remember in a previous video I showed you I had heads. Well, they were extremely bitter. And what I think I've learned is I started them too late in the season, only because we didn't have the garden ready. We had a really cool spring, wasn't able to really get out here and get a garden planted right away, so it was a little bit late. But I have planted 6 more here as we're getting cooler, and I really think that I may be able to get cauliflower from this batch. Another loss, which was a real hopeful win, my my Brussels sprouts. As you can see, I do have lots going on here, but because of the heat, there's just no real good viable heads on here. Lesson learned on that too. I started them a little bit too early, I think. Should have started them later in the season so that they'd be ready to harvest later in the season, more towards fall. So next year I probably won't start them until July, and then I think I'll be able to get some nice Brussels sprouts off of them. But it's not going to go to waste. I am going to cut off the leaves. Rumor has it you can eat them just like any other green. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prepare them just as I would any other green. This is my second batch of radishes. I already pulled out the first batch, waited a few weeks, actually about a month now. I just planted these, gosh, a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. So I've got another batch going here. I ran out of radish seeds, so I was going to fill this whole bed with radishes, but that didn't happen because I ran out of seeds. So There again, don't despair. I've got this all here planted with all kinds of different spinaches. I just planted those the other day. My dill, doing gangbusters. I've been coming out and clipping dill as I need it, which I'll explain here in a little bit more. Salads, of course, and then some of them are going to seed, which is great. Actually, the seed that grew this dill came from one of the first houses the first house Sean and I bought together. And I had grown dill there, and I had harvested the seeds. And everywhere we've moved since, I've taken the seeds with me and planted them. And so I will be taking seeds off of this and saving them for next year. Another win here is my collards. Every weekend, Saturday or Sunday, I come out and harvest leaves. And I can generally get 1 to 2 1-gallon bags, freezer bags, to put into the freezer just about every weekend. I did fight a little bit with them with some bug issues, but I did cover them with diatomaceous earth, DE, and that really seemed to have helped, and they are just going great. I've also been feeding them coffee grounds that I've been picking up at the grocery store, as well as grass clippings for the nitrogen. They seem to really be enjoying that, so they're going to keep going. I'll keep going with them until they just peter out. Another win, this one here is super something or other snow peas, snap peas. I just planted these probably a month ago, and as you can see, we're starting to get some snap peas off of that. One of Sean's very, very favorites. I did harvest some yesterday. Looks like I need to come back out with my harvest basket and maybe take a few more off. I'll throw those into a salad or a stir fry for dinner tonight. Depends on how I feel. Another semi-win is the watermelon. We have gotten a few watermelon to grow. Got one there. Got one back there. Thought I had another one. Where are you? Oh, little tiny one right here. Don't know how he'll do. He's pretty tiny, but we'll give him a chance. Good time to be weeding while I'm right here and see him. So I would call that a win. I wasn't expecting much from it, but we did get a few watermelon here. We'll let them keep going until they get big enough and we'll cut them. Sunflowers, I started those a little bit late. This one here, had to cut the top off. He was just looking awful. I don't know if bugs got to him. I'm not exactly sure what this is here, some sort of scale. It's kind of like what happened here, but looks like he may bud out and he may bud out, so I can get a couple of sunflowers here. Moving along here, there again, you can see all the spaghetti squash from this side. We've got the patty pan. Gotten a few out of here. They've just started coming along. Did have a pollination problem with these also. So I've been coming out and hand pollinating when I see an open flower. But we are getting a few here and there. I wouldn't say it's a loss, but I'm really not going to call it a win either. Trying to see if I see any more here. Yeah, there's a couple down here. Bees have been really active. I've just been loving it. We don't bother each other. I let them come in here and do what they need to do. Another big win, I would say, would be my cucumbers. This is where the dill part of the story comes in. I have been canning pickles probably every other day, anywhere from 3 to 6 cans of pickles. So you can see here, here's a nice looking slicing pickle here. We've been having pickle salad. I've been putting just pickles on the table. Another good sized one here. We'll let them go another day or two just to make sure they get nice and big. Sean likes to take pickles with his lunch. Also likes to take cucumbers, so trying to get a nice supply of that going. But there are pickles all over the place. Or cucumbers, I should say. They're not pickles yet until I process them. I've actually started running out of jars. It's a terrible problem to have, right? Over here we have the canning pickles, or canning cucumbers. As you can see, got some babies right now, but they've been providing me with some good size, there you go, good size canning cucumbers. Here's a good one here. We'll give him another day. I've been canning slicing pickles and pickle chips, as well as I did up some pickle relish, and then I also did up some, hamburger chips, which are a little bit spicier, for lack of a better term, maybe a little bit more salt on them, but I only did a few jars of those, same with the relish. So win-win on the cucumbers. Boy, these guys struggled. This here is jalapeno pepper plant. I'm not sure if this one has any jalapenos on it whatsoever. The wind really took its toll on this side of the garden. I'm probably going to move these guys over to where the cucumbers are and move the cucumbers or the collard greens over to this side and just see if that helps by putting them more on the north side of the garden. Things you learn, right? Things you learn. But this one here, we've got a few, that's an awful looking jalapeno, but we got a couple over here that are looking good. And I think next year too, I'm going to plant more of the jalapeno peppers and more of the poblano. I don't think I planted enough. I think 2 plants of each is just not enough for us the way we like to eat them. So that'll be, there again, a lesson learned. Tomatoes, finally starting to do something, and I mean totally finally. There again, the wind and the heat really beat them up pretty bad. I've had to come out and also hand pollinate these. Heat stress, blooms won't set when it gets too hot. So anytime I saw a bloom, I would come out here and hand pollinate them. Give you a little tip. I use electric toothbrush. I'll show you how I do that someday. You just take it against a flower. Here, I'll take this one for an example. Set it against here, and just the vibration of the electric toothbrush gets that to release its pollen. And every one of these tomatoes here that I've set, we're done with that method. So just a tip there. This one here, not seeing anything out of it. Too late in the season. Got some nice flowers on here. I'll probably come out with my toothbrush here and try and pollinate some of those. Got a few over here. This is the Beefmaster. We'll see if they get beefy. I'm pretty doubtful on that. It's just, there again, the heat just has torn apart. Plus I had a grasshopper problem too, which there again, the DE helped me with that. I try not to use the DE on anything that has flowers though, just because I don't want to harm any of the good bugs like bees. Poblano. We have got poblano here. Let me see if I can find one. There we go. Here's a good one here for you. There's a good one. Got another one over here. So we'll get a couple of poblanos. Again, I plan on planting more of these next year. Maybe not do so much of something and put that in its place. But I planted 2 of these and I've only got 1. I've got this guy that struggled so bad with bugs, heat, wind, everything else. Then for my last one has got to be the marigolds. Take a look at those guys. I mean, these are huge, huge. And all I did is I bought, if you ever been to like Dollar General, Dollar Tree, any of your dollar stores, they have the box of seeds for $1. And you really don't get a lot of seeds. It's mostly filler. Well, I take the filler out and find the seeds. And then I planted them. Planted just a few in these spaces here along the cinder blocks where I have dirt in them. Potting soil, or not potting soil, garden soil. And this one here, and this one here, and this one here, and this one here are all in single cells. So look at how huge they are. for $1. Just for $1. Now these that are inside the garden bed, those I bought like a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 9-pack of marigolds from your large home improvement store and planted those. Not doing as well. Not doing as well as my Dollar General dollar seeds. And I'll be coming along too, and anywhere I see dried seed heads, I am going to harvest those and save those for next year. So for $1, I'm going to get seasons and seasons worth of seeds. So I'm pretty happy with that. I definitely call that a win. Beautiful, aren't they? Just marigolds. So there you have it. There's the garden progress for this year. Lots of notes going into my gardening journal. There have to make some assessments on what I might want to plant next year. I already have some ideas of different things I want to plant next year. Probably going to try some Pueblo or Hatch chilies, just because my son brought it up in conversation the other day, and I thought, hey, I'll try those. But not too bad. Only a few losses there. I don't know if you remember, but in this spot right here, I had tried planting peppers, bell peppers. None of them took. Not a single one took. So planting the snow peas over here has been probably a much better idea, and I'll probably stick with that. I will probably not plant as many spaghetti squash next year. And we're going to have plenty. I'm already thinking about giving some away. Oh, there's a nice patty pin I'll probably take off today. Look at that guy. That's a gorgeous size. You can see how big he is, judging by my hand here. So there you have it. Update on the garden for 2020, end of August of 2020. Did pretty well in spite of some of the harsh conditions that we had this year. It is 2020. We did have a lot of obstacles we had to overcome, but I think we did very, very well. I was able to can things. I'm going to be able to preserve some things. And I've learned a lot of lessons about gardening out here on the Eastern Plains, where it is hot, dry, and windy. So, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Well, there we have it. Thanks for visiting. We'll see you again next time. Rusty Lilac Farms. Bye.